suddenly become very near and dear to the hearts of Hawaii Island people, and that is cesspools. And we're going to go to Mr. Hanneman first on this one. The Department of Health wants to get rid of cesspools in the state. For our island, that's 50,000 cesspools, 50,000 existing cesspools, more than half that exist in the state. And these homes may or may not have room for septic tanks. The county may or may not have sewer connections coming. The rule change also requires installation of separate wastewater treatment facilities for subdivisions with 15 homes, whereas the current rule is 50 homes. For new homes, at first glance, it seems reasonable to ban cesspools, but for existing homeowners, you're looking at physical site challenges and huge expense potentially. So I'd like to ask you, how would you as governor direct your Department of Health so there's a less drastic approach to the problem? But really what I want you gentlemen to do is talk about how you would deal with this problem, because it's really causing a lot of issues for Hawaii Island people. And you have 2 minutes. Mr. Hanneman first.
I've heard this quite resoundingly as my travels throughout the Big Island to do talk story sessions. Let me just say and be very clear. This would not have happened under the Hanneman administration. As governor, I would have asked my Department of Health, don't even think about it. It's going to raise the cost of doing business. It's going to raise the cost of living. We have to be much more reasonable. I would have brought this issue before the Hawaii Council of Leaders, and I'm sure every county mayor, especially your mayor, would have spoke out very strongly against this. I would have convened a meeting, therefore, with the health department and those who are pushing this change, and try to find common ground, try to find a compromise to do this. But to me, this was totally unexpected. It caught a lot of people unawares. And that's the kind of thing I think if you have an executive who is a Johnny on the spot, knows what's going on, but these regular consultations with county mayors, and being a former mayor himself, this would have never happened. It never would have come out. And so if we have to do this to comply with health standards and the like, let's find out how we can do it. And if we're going to do something like this, then it has to be done with a lot of education, and it has to be done incrementally in phases. But certainly the way they're trying to do it now is going to take too much out of the pocketbook and really serve as a major disincentive to what we need to do with everyday expenses, or those who are in the business of subdivisions, or you as homeowners who continue to be reliant on cesspools. This is going to require a greater investment in the kind of infrastructure that we need to do. And certainly I'm prepared to sit down with county mayors and figure out how we can make sure that we're in compliance all the way across the board. But we have to take into special consideration what the way of life has been on the Big Island all these years. These kind of drastic overnight changes cannot happen.
First of all, this would not ever happen in an Ige administration. It really is about community engagement and about dialogue. I do understand that the state has a role in terms of implementing a lot of the federal mandates that are coming through. But it's ridiculous that they would go ahead, develop these rules, and drop it on the counties without any prior conversations. Something like this affects many, many homeowners across the state. And there needs to be more consultation from the very beginning to talk about what the requirements are from the federal government and begin the dialogue of what can we do to work together to solve this problem. It's about engaging the state and county. It's about engaging the community to really discuss the options. And there may be other options that could be driven by the county level that they could step up and offer. To work in a vacuum, develop these rules, drop it on the counties, and then expect that it's happened, it'd just be totally unacceptable in an Ige administration. It is about working together. It's about recognizing that government, regardless of whether it's federal, state, or county, is government. And we need to find ways on the government side to work together to identify common goals and then really work to solve your challenges and your problems.
Now that I've heard my opponent's position on this, I'm going to make a public appeal right now to the current administration and their department to stop this process right now, so that we don't have to deal with this when either one of us get into office. Because like my colleagues up here, I don't believe that this has been a fair and impartial process at this point in time. And so I would ask the current administration to stop it and wait until the new administration takes office. This obviously is something that needs, as has been mentioned here, you know, it needs further dialogue. It is specific to this specific community and what you all go through and what you have in regards to infrastructure. It is a matter of cost. It is a matter of economics. And if there is public health and safety involved in this, then we need to balance it. But the way it's being done, this process is just not fair. And as such, I reiterate what I had said earlier, and I ask this administration to stop this process.
Thank you, Mr. Iona.